Good morning, everybody. This is your kind of 1 hour, 60-minute gentle flow and stretch. So we're going to take it nice and easy today, just kind of move into the body, get everything open. So go ahead, and if you need any kind of supports, you can grab 2 blocks, or you could grab 2 books that are the same size. So you just want, if you're going to end up putting your hands down on something on the ground, you want them to be the same size so that you're not unlevel, right? So go ahead, find those things if you need them, and let's meet on our mats. So we're going to start off in opening Shavasana. So go ahead and cue up your music if you would like. It's the Spotify playlist on my account, and it's called Open. You can start that up. And then lie down flat on the earth. Extend your legs forward. Let your feet hang comfortably open. And if this feels kind of intense on the low back, then you could bend your knees and just keep your knees bent or allow them to fall in towards one another. This will kind of release your low back. So either way, legs long, knees bent, or knees knocking in towards one another. I just want us to take a few moments to ground down here. Relax your shoulders from your ears. And then allow for your shoulder blades to draw slightly towards one another. So when that happens, you're going to feel your chest lift just a little bit higher. You relax your eyebrows, relax your jaw. You could wiggle it from side to side. And take a nice, deep, long breath in. And out. Inhale. And exhale. And just keep breathing in that rhythm and that pattern. You might notice that the breath starts to get longer as your mind begins to calm down, as your body gets acclimated. So just keep breathing in, inflating the lungs, opening up the rib cage. And then you breathe out and you let your rib cage soften, your lungs empty. And take 3 to 5 more just like that. Now on your next inhale, reach your arms up overhead. You could interlace your fingers and flip your palms towards the top of your mat, and then arch your low back and kind of maybe stretch your feet one and then the other. And then you'll release your fingertips, roll out your wrists, roll out your ankles, go in both directions. Take one more inhale. And And then hug your knees in towards your chest. As you exhale, wrap your arms around your shins, relax your shoulders back and down, and you can kind of rock side to side. You can turn your gaze in the opposite direction from your knees. Good. And then you'll come back into center. Keep hugging your right knee in and extend your left leg long. Let your left toes flex back towards your shin so your left leg is active. Relax your shoulders back and down. And just stay right here with your right thigh pressing into your right side frontal rib cage. And you could stir your thigh bone around kind of in the hip socket, make some room. And then you could go in the opposite direction. Good. And let your right knee come up and over towards your right armpit. So really get a stretch through the groin and the inner thigh. Take one more inhale. And then we're going to switch sides as you exhale. Let your right leg go long and hug your left knee in towards your chest. Flex your right toes back towards your shin and draw your left thigh in towards your rib cage to start. So you feel some compression on your left hip flexor, the shoulders soften back and down. And then you can stir your left thigh bone around as well. And go in both directions. And then come into center and draw your left knee up and towards your left armpit, kind of sliding off of your left side ribs, right? So you get a little bit deeper compression in your left hip. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, hug both knees into your chest. Open your arms out to a T. Take an inhale. And then drop your knees to the right and turn your gaze to the left as you exhale for a supine twist. Try to keep both shoulders flat to the ground. Feel the twist at your thoracic spine, not the low back, not the hips. I mean, you might feel it there, but you want the twist to originate higher. And take about 3 more breaths here. Notice what happens the longer you stay in a pose. So in this twist, ideally the longer you're here, the more your body's going to open up, maybe twist a little bit deeper. And then you inhale, bring your knees back through center. Exhale, drop them over to the left and turn your face to the right. If you notice that your right shoulder tries to kind of pop up off the mat, soften it back down. And then turn your gaze to your right fingertips. About 3 more breaths here. So think nice long inhale. And a complete exhale. 2 more. Last one. And then as you inhale, let your knees come back through center. Let your big toes come to touch and your hands come to your kneecaps. And then as you inhale, separate your knees. You're going to draw circles on the ceiling with your knees, but ideally what's happening is you're lubricating the ball and socket joint of your hip. So just allow, it might feel crunchy because it's kind of sort of early in the morning. You might not have walked around a lot yet. And especially if you don't do this movement very often, it can be kind of weird at first, right? It's great for your hips and it's great for your low back. Now take these in the opposite direction. And then come back to center. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Round your forehead up to your knees. Relax your shoulders back and down so you're a little ball here for a second. Take an inhale. And then let your head and shoulders come back down as you exhale. Slide your fingers behind your thighs. You're going to take little spinal rocks and rolls, maybe only 3, right? Keep your low back rounded so it doesn't slap against the mat. And just find a little bit of a supple sensation along your spine. And then take your last one and sit up nice and tall. Cross your legs, roll your shoulders back and down. So in your seated position, pull your belly in and up. Roll your shoulders back. And then stack your vertebrae one on top of the other like a staircase. So you start from your lumbar spine, and then it just travels all the way up through the cervical spine so that your chest can lift, your collarbones open, and your belly pulls in to support your low back. Then just rest your hands on your knees for a moment. Now, if you have anything going on in your neck, like any kind of degenerative disc issues or any pain or stiffness today, you might just look side to side, right? To open up your neck. But if it feels okay, you can follow me and take an inhale with the crown of your head reach to the sky. On the exhale, tuck your chin towards the notch in your throat, like towards your chest. Roll your shoulders back. Take an inhale right here. And then on the exhale, take your right ear to your right shoulder. Stay for a moment. Feel the stretch down the left side of your neck. Keep lifting your chest and pull your belly in so that your shoulders can soften back and down. You might notice that your left shoulder tries to creep up, but do your best to keep it down. On your inhale, the chin tucks back down towards your chest. And then on the exhale, left ear to left shoulder. Roll your shoulders back. Now your right shoulder might try to creep up towards your ear, but let it be soft. Breathe deep. And then as you inhale, take your chin down. On the exhale, roll your ear to the right. Inhale, chin down. Exhale, ear to the left. Now some of you might eventually move into full-on like neck rolls. If you do, when the head comes back, you should still be able to talk and swallow. So just be gentle, be careful. You don't want to drop your head back to the point where you cut off your throat, right? Where you close everything down. And then if you go in the full circles, make sure you go the same amount in the opposite direction. All right, y'all. Slowly bring your chin back down. Crown of the head lifts up. And on your inhale, reach your arms out and up. Nice and tall. So you want your side body to feel long. So you root your sits bones, your hips down into the ground, and then reach your fingertips up. Take an inhale. And then just drop your right hand down to the right and walk your right fingertips towards the right and lift your left arm up and over as you exhale. So it's a side body stretch on the left side. So just to show from the front, it looks like this, with your right hand down on the ground and your left arm reaching up and over. Good. So ideally, what we're looking for here, as you open the left side of your body, The left hip stays down, and the floating rib at the bottom of your rib cage on the left side is reaching up and away from your hip. Some of you, the right forearm and the elbow might come down to the ground. And then you inhale to slowly come back up. Leave your right hand down on the ground, but slide it back towards your right hip. And then twist to the right with your left hand on top of your right thigh. Roll the shoulders back, open your collarbone. And then you might look over your right shoulder and breathe. And then you inhale, take your gaze back forward. And on the exhale, just release and roll out your shoulders a couple of times. And then you inhale, reach your arms out and up. Exhale, drop your left hand down, reach your right fingertips up and over. So you're bowing out through the right side of your body. Keep your right hip rooted down to the ground. You could walk your left fingers farther away from your hip. Your left shoulder could come down, your left forearm and your elbow could come down. And maybe your gaze turns up underneath your right tricep. But breathe and relax your neck, relax your jaw. Then you inhale, stack your shoulders back over your hips, slide your left hand behind your left hip. And on the exhale, drop your right hand down to your left thigh, lift your chest, open your collarbones, roll your shoulders back and down. And then as you exhale, you twist to the left, gaze over your left shoulder. So think shoulders over hips. So if you notice you start to round back, lessen your twist, but sit up tall. And breathe. And then you inhale, come back, front and center. On the exhale, roll your shoulders back and forth a couple of times. And then inhale, reach your arms out and up. On the exhale, take your elbows back and down and lift your chest. Shoulders soften from the ears. And then let your hands find one another at the small of your back. Interlace your fingers. Puff up your chest as you inhale. Your knuckles might come down to the ground, and you can even use that to slightly create a little bit more sensation, but don't go too hard. Roll your shoulders back, lift your chest, arch your upper back, look up. Keep breathing. Pull the pit of your belly in. Take one more inhale. And then from this seated position, just hinge forward, tuck your chin, and lift your fist as you exhale. Don't go too deep, right? I just want you to open up through your shoulders, through your chest a little. And your arms might come they may not come very high off of your low back, right? And then gently come back up, release your hands, shake it out. And come onto hands and knees, your box pose. So stack your shoulders, your elbows, your wrists, your knees underneath your hips. Now spread your fingers out wide and press down into the webbing between your thumb and your forefinger. On your inhale, let a soft belly drop down. Lift your chin, lift your tail. Take your gaze up. Now on the exhale, keep your shoulders over your wrists, but arch your upper back and tuck your chin towards your chest. And then you inhale, belly down, the heart presses between the upper arm bone. And then exhale, belly up, navel to your spine. Inhale, take your belly down, lift your chin, lift your gaze. And then exhale, belly up, dome out your upper back. Now you can stay right here, taking cat and cow. You could also find stillness for a moment and then turn your fingers out to the side edges of your mat or flip them all the way back towards your knees as long as you have the flexibility to do so to get some wrist stretches. At that point, you could then go back into cat and cow, or you could just kind of gently circle around. Be very careful. Just open up through the forearms, the wrists, and then also the underside of the forearm that also gets tight there. Whatever it is that you chose to do, come back to stillness at center. If your fingers went anywhere else, flip them back towards the top of your mat. Now take an inhale. On the exhale, press your hips back to child's pose, hips to your heels, reach your arms forward and take your forehead down. Now if this feels comfortable to you, this space right here, this is a place you can always come back to. Like if you get, and we're not gonna get super wild today or anything, but in any class, just so you know for future reference, if this is comfortable, this is like home base, right? If this is not comfortable because of the knees, if it creates too much pressure in your kneecap, then you could always take your rest in box pose with the knee a little bit more open, or just sitting down, right? So I just want you to know kind of what the options are, because what feels comfortable and restful to one person might not be to someone else. So if you're still in your child's pose, when you're ready, inhale, shift back up, find your box pose. And then on the exhale, curl up your toes, press into your palms, and lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. So we won't spend a whole lot of time holding here, but just enough to kind of talk you through it. Your feet are about hip width distance apart. Your hands are about shoulder width distance apart. Let the crown of your head reach down. And ideally, you know, your toes are right at like 12 o'clock, right? So they're not turning in, they're not turning out, and the heels are just kind of following the toes. And on your inhale, take a soft bend to the knees, look forward. And on your exhale, take as many steps as you need to the top of your mat for a forward fold. Your feet could be hip width distance apart. Let the crown of your head hang down. Relax your shoulders from your ears, and go ahead and take a deep bend to your knees, because that's perfect, right? It's all good. Take a deep breath in and out. In, shoulders soften back and down, and out. Now on your inhale, it's your halfway lift. Crown of the head forward, tailbone back, belly up. You could bring your fingertips to your shins so that you get a nice tabletop with your back. And then you exhale, fold it back down again. Inhale, halfway lift. Broad collarbones, pull your shoulders back away from your ears. And then exhale, fold yourself down. Let's take 3 more of those. Inhale, long spine, tailbone back, pull your belly up. And then exhale, chest to your thighs. Last 2. And 1. On this one, take opposite elbows with your hands and ragdoll, release out of your low back. You could sway side to side. And allow your forearms to reach down towards the ground, like you could actually rest them there, right? Even if they're not even close. I just want you to create that sensation. And then drape your hands back down to the ground. Completely exhale. And then inhale, come all the way to standing. Roll up 1 vertebra at a time. Take your time. The shoulders roll back and down, and then your head lifts. So from here, we're down into the 4 corners of both feet. And then on your inhale, reach your arms out and up. On the exhale, stay right here. Press your feet down. As you inhale, reach your fingertips higher. So your navel pulls up and away from your pubic bone. Your sternum up and away from your navel. And then on your exhale, interlace all of your fingers except for your index finger. So it looks like this. Like some people call it like, what is it? Charlie's Angels? That. So do this. And then from here, inhale, reach your fingertips higher. On the exhale, hinge to the right. So you bump your hips to the left and then reach your pointer fingers to the right. So deepening the stretch we've already done once when we were sitting down, opening up the left side body. Roll your shoulders back and down. Now you inhale, shoulders back over hips, reach your fingertips high. On the exhale, keep the mudra with your hands. Keep the interlaced fingers and then bump your hips to the right and take your fingers to the left. Breathe. And then you inhale, come back to center. On the exhale, elbows back and down. Lift your chest. Good. Maybe you press your hips forward. And then let your hands find one another at the small of your back. Interlace your fingers. Puff up your chest on the inhale. And then fold yourself down as you exhale and take your fist up and off of your low back. Breathe here. Let your hands come down to the earth. Take an inhale, halfway lift. On the exhale, step your left foot to the back and soften your left knee down to the ground. Your right knee tracks over the heel or the ankle so that you create a nice 90-degree bend with your right knee. And then take your time. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Check that your right hip's not lifting up a lot higher than the left. You gotta level and square it off. Fingertips reach high. And then squeeze the inner thighs towards one another and the pit of your belly in and up. Now you'll reach your fingertips a little bit higher as you inhale. And then open arm twist to the right as you exhale. Left fingertips forward, right fingertips back. Your gaze could go back to your right hand if that works for your neck. If it doesn't, just look to the right, or you could still look forward, right? Now take one more inhale. Let your right hand come to the small of your back and lift your left arm up as you exhale. So really getting a deep stretch through your left side psoas, the front of your hip, maybe the top of your quad, the inner thighs. Take one more inhale, lift a little bit higher. And then as you exhale, your left hand comes down to the ground, to the inner arch of your right foot. And then your right arm reaches up to the sky. Take an inhale. Gaze follows your right fingertips if it can. And then slide your right forearm around the small of your back as you exhale. Now rotate your right shoulder back open. Look at your right knee. It might have splayed out to the right, so it's misaligned from your shin. I want you to engage your right inner thigh and draw your right knee and your shin back over your right ankle. Good. Now it's a soft release of your right arm as it reaches back up. This is your inhale. Right hand down to the ground. Shift your hips back and straighten your right leg as you exhale. Flex your right toes back towards your shin. You can extend your tailbone towards the back of the mat. Belly pulls in and up. And then your right thigh bone is internally rotated, so your second and your third toe are pointing up to the sky. Now on your inhale, lift your chest, pull your heart forward. Your legs and your hips stay the same. And on the exhale, navel to your right thigh bone. Good. Now if you feel this in your gluteal fold, where your glute and your hamstring connect, or in your right knee, you're going to bend your knee. You don't want it to be as straight. Now you can stay right here, or you could inhale, lift your chest. And on the exhale, walk your left hand over to the right and just get into your IT band area a little bit. Keep pulling your right hip back. And then slowly come back to center. Stay as you are. So for those of you who practiced with me before, I don't always do this particular stretch. But I want you to take an inhale right here with your chest kind of like in a halfway lift. And on the exhale, flatten your right foot down. So really get into like the top of your ankle, your foot, all that stuff. Keep pulling your right hip back. Try to get your big toe pedal to press down into the ground. And then see if you can get all 5 toes to press down. It's okay if they don't. Don't force it, right? But just notice if it's possible and you're just not doing it, or if it's going to create pain in your body if you try. And then slowly lift your right toes back up. Walk yourself forward as you inhale. Curl up your back toes, lift your back knee. And then forward fold again as you exhale, top of your mat. Inhale to a halfway lift. And then exhale, chest to your thighs. Come all the way standing as you inhale, arms up, look up. Right hand drops down, left arm reaches up and over as you exhale, side body stretch. Inhale, both arms to the sky. Exhale, left arm down, right arm reaches. Inhale, both fingers high. Exhale, elbows back and down, lift your chest. Make a fist at the base of your spine, interlace your fingers, puff up your chest, inhale. And then fold yourself down as you exhale. Hands to the ground as you inhale. And then step your right foot back, right knee down to the earth as you exhale. Create the 90-degree bend with your left knee. Take your time. And then inhale, arms up overhead. Salamba Anjaneyasana, your supported crescent lunge. So if you feel this in your low back, you're going to take the top of your pubic bone and draw it slightly upwards so that your lumbar spine lengthens instead of kind of extending and then compressing your low back, right? So reach your fingertips a little bit higher. Good. Open arm twist as you exhale. Right fingertips forward, left fingertips back. Maybe your gaze follows your left hand. Shoulders down away from your ears. And then root down into the four corners of your left foot. Good. Completely exhale. Inhale, left hand to the small of your back. Exhale, right arm reaches to the sky. So open up through your right side psoas to the front of your hip, your quad, all the good stuff. Take an inhale, lift a little bit more. Maybe you even arch your back. And then you exhale, right hand to the inner arch of your left foot. And then your left arm reaches up to the sky. Stack your left knee over the ankle again. Gaze to your left fingertips if you can. Breathe. And then you take an inhale. Slide your left forearm around the small of your back as you exhale. Open your left shoulder back up. Breathe. Check your left knee and your shin. And then it's a soft release. Inhale, left arm back up to the sky. Exhale, left hand down. Shift your hips back and straighten your left leg. Flex your toes back towards your shin. So if you'll take your navel more towards your left thigh bone, it will pull your left hip back and your right hip forward. Good. And think of a long spine instead of a rounded spine. Breathe in. Know that you're breathing in. And breathe out. Know that you're breathing out. And you can stay right here. Where you inhale, lift your chest halfway. Exhale, walk your right hand over to the left and just kind of work into those muscles, the fascia, everything around your IT band. Slowly come back to center. Take an inhale. Everything else stays the same, but you flatten your left foot to the floor as you exhale. And then lift your left toes back up. Walk yourself forward as you inhale. Curl up your back toes. Lift your back knee. And then step your back foot to meet the front as you exhale. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, chest to your thighs. And then inhale, take a halfway lift. And then heel toe your feet out to maybe mat's width distance apart. And then turn your heels and toes out and drop down into your malasana, your yoga squat. So it's also called a garland pose, right? So from here, allow for your hips to settle down towards the ground. Lift your shoulders over your hips, and that's going to come with flexibility. So if you're like this, and that's the best you can do, then that's just where you are. I want you to think that eventually you'll lift your chest open your collarbones and your shoulders will stack over your hips, right? So your hands are pressing together at heart center here, but I want you to pay attention. So you press your triceps into your inner thighs to give you kind of like extra sensation, or if you're just not feeling anything at all. While at the same time, you create an opposing force and you squeeze your inner thighs in towards your triceps. However, if you have like sciatica or low back issues, or doing this kind of stuff and like pressing makes you feel like you have like a splitting thing in the low back or anything like that, then you're just not going to do that part. You might take a smaller stance and you won't press into the legs. You might just bring your hands at heart center and decrease the pressure, right? So I say all of that just so you can feel it out and know what works actually for you, because when we're cueing and teaching to the masses, to the public, we're throwing a dart at what like the typical response would be whenever that might not be your truth, might not be your story. So good, y'all. Take one more inhale. And last time, hands down, lift your hips. Forward fold as you exhale. Take your toes to 12 o'clock. And then slowly roll up to standing on your inhale. Reach your arms out and up. And then this time, take your right arm underneath your left. You could hug opposite shoulders, or you could eagle up your arms and go palm to palm, right? With your legs straight. So from here, just lift your elbows up and arch your back. Gaze to your thumbs. And then exhale, tuck your elbows in towards your navel. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, unravel, let that go. And then exhale, take your left arm underneath the right. Hug opposite shoulders or eagle up your arms. Your legs are straight. Oh, yeah, there we go. And then your gaze is right where your hands cross. And then you inhale, lift your elbows, lift your forearms. You might arch your back, you might not. And then exhale, take your elbows in towards your navel. Inhale. And exhale. Last one. And then you inhale, reach the arms out and up. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale to your halfway lift. And then exhale, bring your palms down. Step back to your downward facing dog. Shake your head from side to side. And then come down to your knees. And then take your hips to your heels for child's pose. Arms forward, forehead down. You can roll your forehead from side to side. And then on your inhale, press up into your box pose. Cross your feet at the ankles, sit back on your heels, or just sit to the side and bring your legs out in front of you. So kind of move all your stuff out of the way. Flex your toes back towards your shins. And as you inhale, reach your arms out and up. And on the exhale, fold over your thighs. Relax your shoulders back and down. Paschimottanasana, your seated forward fold. Chest pulls down and forward. So relax your shoulders from the ears. And think of a long spine again instead of a rounded spine. Heart towards your toes. And then slowly lift your shoulders over your hips. Bend your knees and bring your feet down to the ground, about hip-width distance apart. And your hands down, fingertips towards your hips. Roll your shoulders back and down. And on your inhale, lift your hips up. Reverse tabletop. Gaze to the ceiling, holding here just for 3. For 2. And 1. From there, bring the soles of your feet together. Let your knees hang comfortably open and your soles of your feet come in towards the sits bone. So butterfly pose. Now, if it would feel more appropriate to you to bring your feet farther away from you, do that. Otherwise, bring your feet closer to you. Let your knees open up. Hands kind of rest on the feet, forearms on the shins. Lift your chest as you inhale. And then exhale to hinge forward. And then you slowly lift your shoulders back over your hips. Stretch your left leg long and bring the sole of your right foot towards your left inner thigh. Let your right knee open out to the side. Arms up overhead as you inhale. Janu Shashasana A. Exhale, chest over your left thigh. Relax your shoulders back and down. Let this open up through the left hamstring, the right hip, and the low back on the right side. And then you inhale, lift your gaze. Walk your shoulders over your hips as you exhale. Now bring your right knee up and cross your right foot over to the outside of your left thigh. And try to get your right foot to go flat and your right hip to stay down. Now your right hand behind your right hip. Inhale, lift your left arm up to the sky. And then as you exhale, twist to the right. Now you can hug your right knee with your left elbow and twist. Or you can hook your left elbow to the outside of your right thigh. You choose what you need. And then gaze over your right shoulder perhaps, or look to the right. And breathe. And then you inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, drop your hands over to the left. Come back to center. Extend your right leg long and take the sole of your left foot to your right inner thigh. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. Your left knee is just hanging out, falling down. And on the exhale, fold over your right thigh. So there's no tension or pressure or pain in the left knee joint. So if you feel something there, you might need to make it a smaller angle or wider, or move your foot away from your thigh, right? So relax your shoulders. Breathe. Inhale, lift your gaze. Exhale, walk your shoulders back over your hips. Lift your left knee. And then cross your left leg over to the outside of your right thigh and press your left foot as flat as you can. Left hip stays down. Left hand behind your left hip. Right arm reaches up high. That's your inhale. And then you exhale. Right elbow to the outside of your left knee or thigh, or hug your left knee or thigh with your arm. Lift your chest. Gaze to the left shoulder if you want. And then you inhale, gaze to the right toes. And then exhale, drop your hands over to the right. Come back to center as you exhale. Take one more forward fold on your exhale. Relax your shoulders back and down. And then slowly come back up. Roll down one vertebra at a time until you're flat on your back. Taking your time. And then let the soles of your feet come together and your knees hang open, just like we did in our butterfly pose. So this is a cobbler's bridge. So press the soles of your feet together and press the knife edge of your feet down onto the ground. Hands come down next to the hips, palms face down. On your inhale, lift your hips up into the sky. Now, they're not going to come as high as they would probably in a traditional bridge. For some of you, they might. And just hold here for 5. It's a little bit more of like a restorative kind of bridge, you could say. Last 2. And 1. Soften down. Hug your knees in towards your chest when you're ready. And then drop your knees to the right and turn your gaze to the left. Your arms could open out to a T, or your right hand could rest on your left thigh and just the left hand reach out like a T. On your inhale, draw your knees back through center, maybe one at a time. And on the exhale, they soften to the left, gaze to the right. Your right arm could reach out like half of a capital letter T, and your left hand can be a weight to the right thigh. We try to keep both shoulders flat. But if that's just not going to happen, if you're feeling compromised in the upper back today or anything like that, use your judgment. The idea is to leave your mat feeling better than when you showed up on it. That takes a whole different level of patience, doesn't it? Take a deep breath in and out. One more inhale. Notice how you soften, maybe go a little bit deeper with your exhale. And then you inhale, slowly come back through center. And on your exhale, happy baby. Peace fingers to the big toes or hands to the inner or outer arches of your feet. You're more than welcome to take that wide straddle. I'm going to stay right here. This feels like plenty today. You can rock side to side. And on an exhale, hug your knees in towards your chest. Wrap your arms around your shins and then press your feet to the sky. Now, for those of you that have a block or something, you would bring your feet back down to the ground, lift your hips. You could slide a block underneath your low back for a supported waterfall. If you don't have one, it's all good, right? Just press your feet into the sky and take traditional waterfall. You could be still right here, or you can draw figure eights on the ceiling with your feet. if you did take a variation where you slid a block underneath your low back, I want you to bring your feet to the ground first so that you can lift your hips to slide it off, right? And then we all hug our knees back in towards the chest. Take an inhale. Round your forehead up to your knees as you exhale. Soften your shoulders. Inhale. Shavasana as you exhale. Lie down flat on the earth. Extend your legs out long. Your feet could be hanging comfortably open. And your palms could come down by the side, body facing up. Relax your brows and your jaw. And just traveling down from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes. Notice whatever is still holding on to tension. Focus there, breathe, and see if you can let that go too. And rest. Shavasana. If what you need is to be here a little bit longer, please just tune me out and stay in your rest, in your Shavasana for as long as you can, as long as you want. If you are ready to exit your mat, begin to deepen your breath, to wiggle your fingers and your toes. And on your inhale, reach your arms up overhead into a full body stretch. And as you exhale, tuck your knees in towards your chest and wrap your arms around your shin. Then slowly roll over to the side of your choosing, or you could just roll straight up to your comfortable seated position. Just cross-legged right where you are. Your hands can rest on your knees or in your lap, or seal your palms together in Anjali Mudra at heart center. So we take this moment, this pause, to be grateful for this practice, for the fact that we show up even when we could choose to do a million other things. So in the yogic spiritual practice, we practice asteya, your non-stealing practice, and I truly believe that by showing up on your mat, this is how you teach yourself to only give what you have to give, but to give what you have to give. And in so doing, you're offering the world what you truly also have to offer, and that is what we need. We need you. We need you in all of your wholeness, all of everything that you are. Because you were born at this exact moment for a reason. To be here at this exact time, at this pinnacle in history, who knows, right? And so I appreciate you. I'm grateful for you. I thank you for showing up and for being a part of all of this with me. It's not a coincidence. So thank you for being here. I will see you Wednesday, 4 p.m. All levels flow. Namaste.